squeeze the trigger.
You know better than think before you speak? I quote Sun Tzu from Art of War. Before you go to war, you must consider the expense. So always say, is this worth what I got to say, worth the expense? Think about it.
Okay, so then on Squeeze the Trigger, that was the first time that I remember hearing actual gangs and neighborhoods and everything mentioned on a record, and very specifically. So for you, what on that record in particular made you want to, take a urban hood, whatever label, and mention the actual specific?
Let's see. Well, Squeeze the Trigger was just a record about me saying that the world's fucked up, and this is what I see. This is what I'm dealing with. I'm not coming from the same place you're coming from. So it's funny when people quote lyrics, and then I got to try to figure out the lyrics. You ever seen a rapper find his lyrics? It's like made me now the cops. Murder intrigue, somebody must bleed. Miami Vice is small time, LA's the big league. From the rolling 60s to the Nickerson G, Pueblos, Grape Street, this is what I see. The jungles, the 30s, the VNG. Life in LA ain't no cup of tea. I mean, it was just basically my life. These different sets is what I'm dealing with. So I'm like, when I said those on Squeeze the Trigger, people had no idea what I was talking about. LA people did, but people way over. When I say the jungle, the 30s, the VNGs, they're like, and still today, somebody was asking me when I said bus went through the ETGs, they were like, what is that? And I'm like, that's the 8 Gangsters. So just speaking in LA dialect, how do you say it? Unapologetically was putting gangster rap in motion. Just saying things that you knew no one would really understand, but it was so hood. Even this fact when I come out and do an album called OG, what's it, OG, Oh Golly G? OG Wally, OG, what the fuck who makes a record called OG, But that was a term that was embedded in LA gang culture. The original members of whatever set you're in, the first generation of that set would be considered the originals. And then also LA by the time I had used the word, they used OG for anything that was original. The OG Chuck Taylors, the OG 501 jeans, the OG, anything that was original, that OG Trey, them OG Dayton wires, the originals, not the new ones, the original ones. So I put that out there, and that's Snoop continued to do it. All of the West Coast people, Mac 10 was heavy on LA slang. He put a lot in the game. And of course, 8, all my comrades, we found comfort in LA slang in the same way New Yorkers found comfort in their slang. And that gave us a special sound.
But also, in particular, with you and with NWA, and even to a lesser degree, King T, like coming out and having videos, there really wasn't colors in the video.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems, in retrospect, to have been a very conscious decision.
So, absolutely.
So why was it?
Well, no, early when we were coming out, you wasn't claiming no sets straight up. It was dangerous. This is pre-92. The truce happened in 92. And no matter what anybody said, it took a lot of heat off of the streets. Before 92, it was all out gang war in LA. And, Snoop wasn't really wearing all that blue. And I would wear red ones, photo shoot, blue the next, red. People was always confused. Well, Ice, what's he, this, what's that? I think he's from this neighborhood. And I would move around LA so frequently and liquidly. I would be in Watts, then I'd be in the Pueblos, then I'd be in the jungle, then I'd be in the 6-0s, and I'd be in Harlem. I would move because I was hustling and playing and chasing women. So they was like, and then, you know, by that time I had a perm and I'm wearing Fila, and they couldn't really put a mark on me. They didn't know who I was. But once the truce happened in '92, people kind of put on the colors to kind of say, it's okay to rep your set as long as we not banging on each other. You know, we kind of made that clear during the truce, because I was involved in the truce over there in Imperial Courts and Bounty Hunters, and I did a video called "Got a Lot of Love" right there in the hood. But it was important to let the gangs know you ain't gotta stop being from your gang. We just need to stop banging. We got to stop killing each other. Your neighborhood and your pride for your neighborhood, there's nothing wrong with that. So in a way, that's, even though the gangs are still wilding, that still carries on in LA today. You can go to those concerts and there'll be Crips and Bloods, and it's not that on-site shit that used to be, where if you saw somebody, they would just take off on you. Now there's predetermined beef, and now it's even inside the gangs. Like the Crips are fighting the Crips, the Blood. It's all set wars. So, you know, I thought it was, as after we did that and as LA started to develop, it just, I guess I'll say it just became safer to wear the colors. You know, when Suge and them had Death Row with all that red walking around, but then also had Snoop on the same label, who were basically 20s Crips. That right there is a truce in itself. So times changed. It made it a little bit more safe. It wasn't when I first started, though.
And do you remember, like, when DJ Quick, he was the first one that I remember was like naming his streets and his affiliations like explicitly on a regular basis?
It was, at some point, everybody was comfortable, and, you know, in this LA thing, there's a lot of gang politics and stuff, more so for people that surround themselves in the gang. I never really did that. I never really put no gang on my back. It was like ISIS affiliate, he's connected to lots of sets. I didn't necessarily come out and say, I'm from one particular set. That always seemed a little dangerous to me. Always did. I mean, I have nothing but respect for the violence and capabilities of LA gangs, because too many of my friends have died as a result of it. So it's nothing to play with. I don't understand why people want to come out here from other states and join gangs, and it's not a fashion statement, it's a deadly game.
And why do you think that seems to have become a trend or very popular?
I think for the same way, like when we started the interview out, there's some type of pride people take in being tough and being from some toughness. They want to be tough. And, you know, I mean, gang membership seems to be the toughest, you know. So when you're coming from Virginia, you coming from somewhere out of town, and you say, you know, I'm part of a gang, you know, it seems cool. It seems cool. And the problem that they don't really understand is that you can't really be from an LA gang when you're 25 or 27. You get in a gang when you're 15. And you and your friends, you might have been in a murder together. We know things about each other, so we got a blood oath or oath for life. Here I come along, I'm late, you know, I got a lot of money and I want to be in the gang. Sure, we'll put you in the set, but you ain't in the set. You know, you just kind of like, they're probably extorting you and everything else. It's like, it's not safe. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you really want a gang, just hire a gangbanger bodyguard if that's what you want. But jumping into a gang, it's hustling backwards. And, you know, You don't get any stripes from that, not from no real LA cats. You might get some stripes from people all over. No, I don't think anyone thinks it's smart. I really don't. I don't know what would make you think it's something smart to do. Be sure to check out the history of Gangsta Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangsta Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The history of Gangsta Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once Gangsta Rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on your TV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The history of Gangsta Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The history of Gangsta Rap in stores now.